Coach, in front of an electric atmosphere at Frost Arena on Thursday, you played USD even through the first quarter, and they took a page out of your book and went on a run to start the second, and you guys just did not have an answer for Kate Liveringhouse.
No, she was really good. I mean, she just shot the ball well and was a huge boost for them. I think in the first half, maybe only missed one shot. In the second half, got a little bit more under control. But I think she might have 18 or so in the first half.
She did, 18.
Big game, and we just didn't handle her well. But, some of it was also we're helping and we're trying to close gaps, and she's kind of the benefit of some other good offensive players on USD's team, and she really capitalized on us having to help on others, and she really did a nice job making some shots, and she was a big part of their success that day, and certainly the first half, and then the second half they had some others step up. But, I wasn't super pleased with our defense overall in that game. A lot of it was defensive transition, how we guard penetration. But then on the other side of the ball, offensively, we just never really got into a flow. I still think that was a huge, part of their success that day. Is they defended us very well, particularly in that third quarter when I thought we could maybe make a push and get ourselves going. We just didn't really get over that hump in that third quarter.
Let's go back to what you said about transition. That shows up in the box score 20-2 in terms of points off turnovers.
Yeah, they do a great job. They're one of the better teams in our league, and they actually at steals, forcing turnovers. They just get out in some passing lanes and very aggressive. It's not like they're out in some high-pressure defense, but they're just very instinctive and play very hard. And they did. They forced some turnovers. So we have to take care of the ball better, which is a big part of getting your defense set, is being good offensively, not just taking care of the ball, but making shots, getting the right shots. If you take quick shots, which we did at times, and then you turn it over a little bit, that really can lead to some defensive breakdowns because you never get set. And I thought that hurt us. They had, if you look at the stat sheet, I think they only list 5, 6, 4, something like that, transition points, fast break points for them. But in our mind, they had almost 20-some transition points that came really early in their offense where we just never really got set.
And then coming out of the locker room at halftime where you're looking to get back into the game, all of a sudden they come out and hit back-to-back threes, and now your hole is even deeper.
Yeah, and that's where I really thought we had a chance because we were down 5, I think, a half, and really could have been down more. We just didn't play well. And I kind of thought, boy, the second half we can make a push. We're going to find a way here. But we really dug a hole in that third quarter, and we still recovered some. We had it down to, I think, a one-possession game a number of times late, and then we just didn't execute some sets down the stretch. I just felt like the crowd was phenomenal, and they were the ones kind of willing us and pulling us along in that game, and we couldn't just get over that last basket to hold the lead, maintain a lead late. But we were close, and despite how poorly we played, we just had our shots and just didn't quite get it done. But USD was better that day. They played well on both sides of the ball, and when you can win in Frost Arena, that says something about your day, and they played really well.
And then to only shoot 64% from the line and miss 5 free throws in a 6-point game can't help either.
No, that's what I mean. Everything was just an uphill battle. Some of those misses came in that third and in that fourth when we kind of needed them. And it just is one of those things where everything was harder. And it was a game where there was a lot on the line, and there's a lot of stress, involved in that. And that can make it more difficult. So we need to bounce back and make sure we understand there's a lot of things we can improve on in that game. And I'm sure USD will look at things they can improve on. So the next time we play, both could play at a higher level. So it's a good learning experience. You never want to have to do it, but hopefully that kind of refocuses us and gets us back to a mindset where we can play better basketball.
And then you had a quick turnaround hosting Fort Wayne on Saturday. Were you curious to see how your team would respond after Thursday night?
Well, the message after Thursday was pretty clear. Wins and losses are how we're measured. Measured is the word there. But you're not defined necessarily by wins and losses. We'll be defined by how we come back from wins and losses. And that's where we really talked about on that Friday and into Saturday. How are we going to define ourselves for our next game and then be measured by the game? So I thought our seniors did a great job of leading us and getting everybody reconnected, re-engaged. And we played with a lot of effort in that Fort Wayne game. We shot the ball incredibly well, So everything went our way. But we had a good energy about us, good confidence about us, and that showed, I think.
Well, in the offense right away out of the gate, first 8 points, 16 of the first 19. Maddie has 13 in the first half. You shoot 61% in the first quarter. And again, against a team like Fort Wayne that's been struggling, that's exactly what you've got to do.
Yeah, you want to have a good start. And after we struggled, so there's no doubt there. There's no kind of lingering lack of whatever it be, confidence or energy. It was just a really good spark. Had a great crowd, doubleheader, and a lot of people there. But you mentioned Maddie, you mentioned Macy, but Ellie really had her best game of the year. She had 23 points, 9 of 10 from the field. Just looked a lot more under control. She did it all in 23 minutes. We'll see. That's nice to see from Ellie, but until she can string 3-4 of those together, it's kind of a one-time deal. But that one-time deal gives her a chance to hopefully put some of that together and really springboard to a good February here.
Well, in that second half especially, 6 of 7 from the floor, and like you said, she finished with that career-high 23, and like you said, maybe this is the confidence boost that she's been looking for.
I hope so. She has not had the kind of year that she's capable of. I think last year she was whether it be second team or honorable mention all-conference. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I mean, she'd be looked at as somebody who's a pretty important player to our team. She's a 1,000-point scorer. She's been here through a lot of the big wins and successes, but to watch her this year, she's just been real kind of solid, and especially with Maya being out, who's really our third offensive player statistically. We need somebody else to step up in that role and give us a consistent presence, especially a post player, someone that can score in a different way than Macy or Maddie and take some of that stress off of our perimeter game. And Ellie certainly should do that. She's got the talent to do it. She has the experience to do it. And quite honestly, we expect her to be a really good player here in the month of February.
So you finished the first half of the Summit League season 6-1. You let one get away at home, which obviously you never like to do. But overall, how did you like the first half?
Well, first half's been great. I mean, we've played really well. We're playing at a high level. We're averaging 75, 76 points a game on the year. It might be even a little bit better in conference. That would put us, I think, in the top 50 nationally. We're shooting free throws at a high level. Field goal percentage has gone up. We're really playing good basketball. And the hard part is, again, you're measured by wins and losses, so that one loss probably hurts more than the other wins feel good. And that's a tough way to have to look at it. So it gives us something to be motivated by as we go into the second half here. We'll have 5 of 7 on the road. There'll be some big challenges. We go to a couple of our, traditional old rivals here with NDSU and Omaha this week. But it'll be a fun stretch, and before you know it, we'll be all down in Sioux Falls there. So.
And before we talk about the second half, let's talk about Maya. What's her status at this point heading into the second half of the season?
Well, she'll get looked at again here this week. We really don't expect to have her this weekend. I think that's still a little bit premature. Maybe the week after, if not, probably that following. So I have no doubt she will return this year. It's not one of those things where there's any question about that. It's just making sure she feels healthy enough to really have the impact she wants. So probably not this weekend, but we're hopeful after that.
All right, let's start with North Dakota State. You're up in Fargo on Thursday. This is a team that finished 1-6 in the first half. They've lost 2 in a row. As we talked earlier when you met them, it's more than just Taylor Thunstedt this year, but the balance right now is not working out for them. They've only scored the 6th best in the league.
Yeah, I think they're still struggling to find a lineup. They've continued to move people in and out of the starting lineup. We'll see with Taylor this week, if she'll kind of come out of her shell and really try and have a big game, because she has been probably quieter in her senior year than what people would have expected, and we certainly don't want that to change against us on Thursday, so we'll pay close attention there. But they do have balance, and that's hard to prepare for, because it's hard to figure who you're going to try and take away or what you're going to have them do, because every game is a kind of a different lineup or different rotation. So a lot of unknowns, but at the same time, you try and get ready for what their plan is, and that's been a lot of motion stuff, kind of a lot of 4-out, 1-in stuff, and we'll see a lot of that in our league this year. That's a pretty common theme for a lot of teams, so hopefully we can put a good idea together and come out with a win on Thursday.
And here's the frustrating thing as a coach. They've shot 50% in their last 2 games, but they've turned it over 36 times in those 2 games and lost both of them. Yeah,
it really is. Efficient shooting, but just need more shots. And that's where our defense, to be honest, struggled. I thought in the first half here in Brookings, same thing. They shot the heck out of it, and we just let them make shots. And it wasn't until the second half where we scored a little bit and then forced a few turnovers where we really pulled away. But if that first half plays out in the second half, our game in Brookings is a dogfight. So we're going to be really, on our team to make sure that we don't let them get comfortable, because they have proven to have players that can put it in the basket.
Yeah, the 2 big numbers from that meeting where you won by 20 was their 64% in the first half, and then your 40 points in the paint against them.
Yeah, I think that'll be important. And they have great size, so it's not like they're a small team. They're deep inside, too. But we were able to get some penetration. We were able to get some guard post-ups. We got inside differently than just pounding it into the post, and some of it was transition. So I think we're going to have to do that again. Like I said, Ellie is someone we want to get touches and continue to do well. Tegan is someone we want to move along because she gives us that post presence. And then find ways to get Tylee, Irwin, and Macy and some of our other perimeter players around the basket where they can be effective.
Then Omaha, you go down there on Saturday. This is a team that finally got their first win, so they've got a little bit of confidence. They beat North Dakota State, rallied from a 12-point deficit, and had their best offensive performance in about 6 weeks. 80 points from the floor, 47% field goal percentage, and then Amber Vidal really had a nice game in that North Dakota State game off the bench.
Yeah, she did, and against us she started and had a big game, 20-some, I think, against us the first time. So they're kind of like NDSU. They'll run some motion. They are kind of moving people around, so you can't just look at it and say we have to stop these one or two players or these one or two things. It's always kind of a different lineup and rotation. Have the ability to make a lot of shots. You've got Brecht on that team, who's really a phenomenal three-point shooter. They've got some size inside, so I don't know that anybody would have predicted that they would have been kind of where they're at in the conference right now. I think they're one of those scary teams that if they put things together could be a problem for a lot of us. So we'll have to have kind of a similar plan, though, I think, against NDSU and UNO. Really defend some teams that can put it in the basket at times and get hot. And then both have some unique things they do defensively. Omaha can mix it up between man and zone, and they've done a lot of that. So really getting your team comfortable with what they're going to see on that side of the floor, too.
And people forget that first meeting. Yeah, you won by 25, but this was a very, very close game. I mean, they really controlled the second quarter against you, and it was a very tight game at halftime.
Yeah, both NDSU and Omaha were exactly the same. We just had kind of hung in there in the first half. In the second half, we defended a little bit better, and we really shot the ball well in both games in the second half. And you just don't want to rely on that on the road. You don't want to go to somebody else's gym and hope you can outscore them in the second half, because that's a tall order. So our focus this week and going forward is going to be we have to be, better defensively. Not just solid, because I think we are pretty solid right now, but really good defenses have the ability to disrupt a little bit. And that doesn't mean changing our defense and being something completely different, but it means a little more aggressive, get out a little bit more in denial, get your hands on a few more passes, get a little bit more help in the post, and just be more assertive in all those areas so we can take people a little bit more out of their rhythm.
And the margin of error is a little bit less with 5 of those last 7 on the road.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's the case. I think ultimately we all play the same number of games at home and on the road, so you have a chance to prove what you're capable of. But being one game back in the standings, certainly we're not in anybody's driver's seat right now. We're going to have to work really hard and really earn what we want to achieve. We've had some up and down games. Last year was a tight game in Fargo. I think we won late, really late. Last year we lost at UNO on a last-second shot. And so this weekend will really tell us if we've moved forward with some of those ideas, especially defensive aggressiveness, or if we still have some work to do.